not be showing you how to solve a triangle like this one over here. Like currently, I need to find these missing angles. I mean, these missing angles. Not this one because this is always 90 degrees. And I need to find the angle for BC. I labeled all my angles. To actually make it simpler. And for finding angles, like A and C, you actually need to find the ratio equation you need. For A, one with cosine, because when you flip this around, A will be your adjacent side, while 12 will be your hypotenuse and will always be your hypotenuse. But for C, I chose sine because in this side, A would actually now be your opposite side. So when an equation like this, you would actually need to divide both sides by your ratio. When you do that, your ratio would now become either so, co, or tan of -1, depending on which one you're using, which would lead A to be an angle of 48 degrees, and angle C to be at an angle of 42 degrees. To find BC, I would use a variation of Pythagoras theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Except this time I just subtract 12 squared, which is this side, from 8 squared to lead me into my answer of 8.9 degrees. Now, I would actually like you to try out finding... Oh, just a second. Now I would actually like you to try to find the missing dimensions for this triangle and this triangle right over here. You can pause the video if you want to do it, and you can unpause it to see how I answered them. So for this one, it's generally what I did above, using cosine and just regular sine, leading me into angle of A being 60 degrees, and angle C leading into 30 degrees, with using Pythagoras to find the lengths of B and C, which was actually 15.19. Or you could round it, or if rounded, you would use, or if rounded, it would be 5.2. But for this one, it was a little different. Like, depending on your situation for here, you can either find A, B, and BC by using a variation of our finding angle solution, except this time you would already have your angle, and then you would actually multiply it by the number you would have here. By the number you would have at the bottom. But if you don't, you would actually switch. So then it would actually lead into a fraction. Which you can see I actually use both variations. But for A, I actually use the exact same equation we've been using so far to find angles. But you could also subtract 90 from 75 to equal this angle. So this is my tutorial video for the week. And just let you